All right, what's going on, everyone? We're missing a guy, missing Shane. He's off doing some bullshit in DC, dragging his nuts on someone's drum set. I guarantee it. That's his thing. I wanted to get it in there.
Likely
So
story.
yeah, I had to likely story. Yeah. So, you're lucky enough to get me and Grant this week. We're gonna start off, we're gonna run off last week's games. Grant, anything surprising to you?
Yeah, so been a couple weeks, but we got the Gat Daddy back. Week 5 recap, week 6 preview. It's good to be back. Good to see your smiling face. The hair looks immaculate. I
I feel
see you
like
got that
Jesus.
whistle pig back there. And let's get into it. So last week we started off with a great Thursday night game. I had my fingers crossed for the punt record. We didn't quite get there, but oh my Lord, does Russell Wilson suck dick at football?
Sucks. What's the bigger waste of money? Russell Wilson, comparatively now, we got to compare it, or whatever, per capita. Russell Wilson or Neil Brown? Like, it's
No,
close.
they're not even in the same stratosphere. I'm a Neil Brown fan, so
Neil Brown's trash, and so is Russell Wilson.
yeah. Well, the thing is, who else does WVU get? That's not a particular hot spot for coaching, I think. But yeah, man, looks like that they totally sold the Broncos a lemon. So Russ Wilson, and they got our boy up there in Seattle looking
Gino
like his old
Ballin.
self.
What a
Letting Gino
waiver
cook,
wire
baby.
pickup by who? Derek, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all
Waiver
in on
wire
Gino,
peak.
baby. So good for Seattle, good for Gino. Speaking of a tough one, the Storm and Mormon in the dome took it to him, was able to get the dub for New Orleans, 39-32. Good win for the Saints. Saints are a good team.
Yes,
Patriots kicked the shit out of the Lions. That was a surprising one to me.
goose egg for the Lions too.
You were mentioning before we started recording that the Lions were the number one scoring offense, and to get shut out against let's say this is probably a mediocre Patriots team at
Yeah,
best.
without Mac
Um,
Jones.
well, Bailey Zappi can sling it.
Yes,
Bailey
he can.
Zappi will be the future in New England.
My biggest thing here is early coach of the year, Brian Dabble, the New York Giants at 4-1. They look
Yeah,
sensational. I'm actually like when the schedule came out for us this year, I was like, oh yeah, we get to play the Giants. Now I'm like, fuck, man, we're about to play the Giants in MetLife. That's
I
kind
mean
of worrisome.
that kind of shows you how well coached that the Bills are, right? Because I mean, they lost him and they still look like a wagon. And the Giants did not look like this last year. I know Saquon being healthy is a big factor, but they've got David Sills out there playing as the backside receiver. They're
Let's
banged
go.
up big time, and they're still coming
Saquon
four and
again.
one. So NFC Beast is back. You got the boys, the Giants both at 4-1, and then Philly at 5-0. So that's a tough looking squad at the moment. Big win for them over in England against Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Um,
Any
the
other
Chargers beat the
surprises?
Browns. Nobody's too surprised about that one. The
Bills
Bills kicked the
literally beat the
shit
fucking
out of the
brakes off the
Pittsburgh.
Steelers.
So this is a good question. If the Steelers get 1-1, do they take CJ Stroud or do they trade that pick and they believe in Kenny Pickett?
No, they obviously get CJ Stroud. He's on a whole different level. For me, I'm to the point where, I'm the biggest Lamar fan in the world. I want him more than anything. If we cannot keep him, there's only one quarterback I want besides him, and it would be CJ Stroud. I think the Steelers have to fight for CJ Stroud.
Yeah, I
He's
mean,
that kind of specimen.
this is going to be one of those things where somebody would be willing to give up a lot for that number one pick to get him, especially teams that believe they're just a quarterback away. Um, so keeping on rolling, Bears beat the Vikings. Kirk Cousins started out, I think, 14-14 at one point, the hottest he had ever been.
Yep.
Dolphins, the Jets killed the Dolphins like a bunch of Japanese fishermen.
Yes, they did.
Really just kicked the shit out of them, 40-17. Zach Wilson, the Mormon missile, looks awful good at football.
I think the
Um,
Bears surprised us against the Vikings. That was a close game right up until the end.
yeah, I didn't see any of that game. I just saw the stat line.
It was
I
close.
know in another league I have Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson, and they both between the two of them they combined for 70 points.
Yeah.
So big week. That looks like that the officials gave us one in Tampa, but hey, if you're going to give it, we might as well take it.
Did you see any of the Saints Seahawks at all?
I saw that big run
It
for
was just back and forth and
yeah,
back and forth. It was a
yeah,
hell of a game at the end.
yeah. So I saw Penny broke his fibula, and then Kenneth Walker is going to be the guy. He probably was always going to be the guy at
It
some
was going to
point
be the
there,
guy.
anyways. But that Taysom Hill run, I mean, they were down with 10 guys in the box, and they still let him break that run. That's
Yeah.
pretty
Seth paid
disappointing.
89 fab for Taysom Hill. Goodness gracious.
Hey, Dr. P for a reason, baby.
Yeah, that's something else.
Titans and Commanders, that's a game, none of those teams are going anywhere. Texans, Jags, Panthers, 49ers.
Panthers dead. DJ Moore's about to
49ers
get
are
shipped out
probably
of town.
better with Jimmy Garoppolo, but Panthers dead. PJ Walker probably ends up being the starter for the rest of the year. Baker Mayfield is absolute hot garbage. The only reason he was anything in Cleveland is because of how good that roster was.
Yep.
So DJ Moore overcame
Gone.
the ghost of Cam Newton last year and had 1,100 receiving yards, but he can't overcome a healthy Baker Mayfield.
He's gone. I would literally bet dollars to donuts that DJ Moore is gone.
Yeah, I think it's going to take it two to probably get him. So I don't know. It would have to be somebody who thinks he could really put him over the hump to a Super Bowl.
I know a team.
Cowboys beat the Rams. Matt Stafford's hurt. Eagles beat the Cardinals in a close one. And then let's go right into the Sunday night game. And I'm sure you'll be thrilled to talk about that.
Oh, hell of a game on Sunday night. First of all, there were two game winners in the Eagles Cardinals and in the Ravens Bengals game. Absolutely loved what I saw out of the Ravens. Now, Lamar, he was throwing bricks. He had a horrible game. We can't expect an MVP game every single game, but our defense stepped up. Sucks we lost Marcus Peters for a good 8 weeks, but our defense stepped up. I think I saw something. Joe Burrow didn't complete a single pass over 20 yards. It was just a bunch of screens to Samaje Perine. And it came down to it. When it comes down to a game-winning field goal with Justin Tucker, you might as well turn off your TV because we know what's going to happen.
Yeah, my dad's not even like a big NFL fan. Like he'll watch the Mountaineers, and that's really it. He'll ask me occasionally, like, "Is Steve Slayton still playing in the league?" And he was like, "Man, that kicker for Baltimore, holy shit!" He's like, "That's like bringing in Mariano Rivera." And
Yep.
if you follow baseball, greatest closer of all time.
Yep.
So it really is. It's lights out whenever you see number 9 coming onto the field. And Monday night had a great game.
Great
we need to highlight this. Our dear friend Blake Barnett hit the Chiefs money line when it was plus 1,300. So took Vegas to the cleaner. So shout out Blake.
Shouts out Blake.
You got to buy the dark web a nice little gift with that, but big win.
Travis Kelce had 4 touchdowns and only like 30 fantasy points.
Yeah, 27 receiving yards. I think 5 catches, 4 touchdowns, something along those lines.
Yeah.
So big week for Travis, and Kansas City's a wagon whenever they're really rolling downhill. Shout out to the cameraman or the sound guy. He's about to really get paid for the Raiders or whoever he was that got shot.
Yeah. He flopped it. I loved it.
Yeah. And all right, let's roll into last week's results. So first matchup on my board is the champion Goon Squad versus Russ Cole. I took about a 4-point loss, and I'll say this. Clyde Edwards-Helaire went down on the 1 2 times. So thank you, Clyde. That was a possible 12 extra points we were looking at, but wasn't in the cards. Josh Jacobs, man amongst boys. Carson Wentz is terrible in real life, but 23 in fantasy. Shane didn't really have anybody that really stepped out of bounds and did awesome. I guess McCaffrey got 20, but that's kind of to be expected from McCaffrey. So, all right, which one do you have next?
Oh, I've got Cody's dad versus For the Queen, Cody's versus Seth. Now, my favorite part about this is everything that Seth started with and how he is now 2 and 3. It tickles me to death. And then he just spent 89 fab on Taysom Hill after 1 game. I love it. Seth had a pretty well-rounded performance. Eckler who he traded away and then got back, had 33. That was pretty much the bulk of his scoring. Cody didn't really have much from anybody except for Damian Pierce, so I think is going to be a strong running back in Houston, strong running back on a shitty team. Still brings up the loss. Seth comes out 95-70.
Yeah, Damon Pierce, probably rookie of the year if he can stay healthy. I mean, looks like
Yep.
a man amongst boys.
Who's
All right,
the other
so
one?
next game I have the puppet master himself, Sharky's Goonies, pulling in a big 103 to an 82 win over Nicholas. Josh Allen getting 36 points, Dalvin Cook with 25, and then Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett probably benefited the best quarterback play in the league at the moment with 25 points. So a nice showing from them. Nick got nothing from Waller. Started Waller and he got 0. So I don't know if he got hurt in that game or what.
He got hurt
Okay.
early.
Devontae Adams with 26, so really the lone bright spot. Saquon with 18, but Kyle is looking pretty strong at this point. So I would say as Josh Allen goes, Sharky's Goonies will continue to go.
I would like to say it's a good looking team. Next up, I've got Prestige Worldwide versus Rand U, John versus Blake. John really didn't put up a bad performance. I mean, Lamar had like I said, he was throwing bricks and lost Bateman. We were just doing a bunch of gadget stuff, so that really hurt him. Brees Hall is the truth, and I think he's going to be the offensive rookie of the year. Najee Harris only got him 5.1, AJ Brown 4.7. He didn't really have Kamara finally had a game, but he was playing against Blake. He was Jalen Hurts, who is a potential MVP candidate. Leonard playoff Lenny, 30.9. Mike Williams, 18.4. He's beaten me twice. And if he beats me a third time because of how everybody keeps trading Mike Williams, I'll have a stroke. And then yeah, he had Kirk Cousins on the bench at 23.24. I like that. But yeah, Blake had 106. John had 83. Not a close game.
Nice. So my next matchup, I have Jared Mullins and Uriah. So I'll say this: is we got the two Mullins brothers at 1 and 2 this year. Jared has the benefit of probably the third best quarterback play in the league right now. You got Geno at 1, Tom at 2, and then Pat Mahomes at 3. I would say right now is power rankings of who you would want on your team. So Pat Mahomes getting a solid 31. Derrick Henry and Chubb both with 26, canceling each other out. Stephon Diggs with 20, and then Hayden Hurst with 14. So a big win for Jared to move to 3 and 2 into second place. And Uriah said it pretty well himself. If this was last year, he'd already be selling off his pieces. But fortunately, no more. So
no more.
Uriah falls to dead last. Jared falls to second, or climbs to second.
Love it. My next one, I've got Derek versus the big Frank, the quite frankly himself. Frank, for someone who's been having a lot of quarterback troubles, streaming about every week, whoever you can get, is 3 and 2, and he looks really good right now. Trevor Lawrence only got him 12 points, but Amari Cooper, who I tried to get from him this week, 17, ETN 12.9, but they're still going to be splitting carries with Robinson. Travis Kelce, of course, with the 30-pointer. Olave 13 points, but he caught a break because he caught a touchdown and got knocked out cold, but they gave him the touchdown. But that was the end of his thing. That's my big thing. With these two roughing the passers, I get they're trying to protect the quarterback from the whole Tua thing, but this is about to get out of control. It's about to be a mess. Derek had Jeff Wilson Jr., Ramondre Stevenson do well. Ramondre Stevenson's about to be great with Damian Harris going out for a little while, but that puts Derek at 2 and 3 and Frank at 3 and 2.
Yeah. So I think we'll see a shift in that. I think we'll probably see a couple of quarterbacks get killed with no flags this coming week. They'll overcorrect themselves. So my next matchup, I have Rand U and Jonathan. Lamar Jackson got the dub, but wasn't able to get it done for John. Blake was able to rub his nuts all over John's drum set. So Blake with 106 to 83 behind Jalen Hurts. Lenny with 31.
Already did all that.
Oh, my fault. My fault. Okay, well, so I guess the last one is you. I
No,
think
we're
Derek.
missing something. We should both have the same amount, I think, right?
Well, no, there's only 7 matchups. So, oh yeah. So 1, 2. I
Yeah,
think
there's
the one
7
we didn't talk.
matchups.
Did we talk about Seth?
Oh yeah, I talk shit about Seth. Yeah, the last
Okay.
one's me. You can take it. Actually, no, I want to take this one because this one
All right.
hurt. This one hurt real bad because coming into Sunday night, nobody really did anything much. Mostert surprised me at 18.7. He's going to be a start. Justin Jefferson and Cooper Kupp. How the fuck does he have them both? That's just insane to me. And Mark Andrews. But what come down to it was I had like a pretty good lead, and I had J.K. Dobbins playing. He had Mark Andrews and Devin Duvernay, and I was in a situation where I needed to win this game, but I needed the Ravens to win. And of course, what do? A bunch of gadget shit with Devin Duvernay, and then 8 for 10 receptions, 89 yards, and a touchdown for Mark Andrews. And it ended up giving Heath the win over me. I'm now 2-3, and Heath is 3-2. But I made mucho trades this past couple days, and I am going to turn this league around. And I am open for more trades to anybody who is looking.
I hate to be the one to burst your bubble, but anyways, let's roll into this week's games here. Week 6 preview, top of my list. As far as projected points go, this looks like a good old-fashioned suck-off. Myself versus Jared Mullins, 2-3 versus 3-2. Carson and Pat Mahomes, a little bit of a difference there between players. Jonathan Taylor and Clyde
Questionable
Edwards-Helaire.
Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah. So he's starting Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram looks like he's running back 3 on that team now. I've got Penny's backup, and then Waddle is due, and Christian Kirk will have a bounce back week. So I'm going to take myself over Jared this week.
I'm with you, man. I think I'm going to take you over Jared this week. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, he's been on fire. I don't think he's going to keep that up, and he's playing against that hard Buffalo defense. Jonathan Taylor, Indy just does not do well against Jacksonville. Plus, he's hurt. Clyde Edwards-Helaire has been doing well. The other night, he should have had way more points, but they kept just like he get to the 1 yard line, give it to Travis Kelce. Ken Walker solidified his job. Christian Kirk, he's balling. Keenan Allen's coming back. I'm going to give you the win this week as well.
Nice. All right. So that's the support that we need rolling into the week. So for my next matchup, I have the leader in the clubhouse, 5-0, Sharky's Goonies versus Quite Frankly. Kyle projected to lose 89-86. Trevor Lawrence and Josh Allen, Dalvin Cook and Aaron Jones, McKinnon and Benjamin. So McKinnon is kind of a boomer bust guy. Kyle's got him starting as his RB2. So it'll probably
Benjamin's
be
going to be that number 1 guy with James Conner out.
Yeah, it'll be him or Edwards-Helaire. Amari Cooper versus Jamar Chase, Lockett and Thielen, Gerald Everett and Travis Kelce, and then Chris Olave is questionable. So even not, he's going to be able to start the Lazard King. I'm going to say Frankie gets it done, moves to 4-2, knocking Kyle to 5-1.
I'm with you again. I'm not just trying to agree, but I really think that, Kyle's time to shine is over. Frank, just keeps staying in there, and he has the team to do it. Amari Cooper, Jacoby Brissett's a good quarterback, and he really loves Amari Cooper. Benjamin is about to take over that starting role for at least a week, and, they still don't have DeAndre Hopkins, so it's, Benjamin, Rondale Moore, and Hollywood. Aaron Jones is that guy. All it takes is Trevor Lawrence balling out 1 week. Frank takes the win. I'm going to give it to Frank as well.
All right, so you go ahead with the next one.
All right, for the next one, I'm going to go with Cody versus Heath. I just don't even see this one being very close. I mean, they're both 3-2 teams. Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Miles Sanders, A.J. Dillon, Melvin Gordon, Nyheim Hines. That all depends on Jonathan Taylor's status, Gabe Davis, Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, Mark Andrews. I mean, it's just hard for me to not go Heath here. I'm going Heath.
Yeah, this is a blowout of the week for me. Heath to 4-2, Cody to 3-3.
That's a good one. Next, we'll go with Derek and and Blake, because
Okay.
that's a pretty close one. I mean, Tom Brady, Jalen Hurts, Jeff Wilson, Joe Mixon, Ramondre Stevenson, Leonard Fournette, Darnell Mooney, Sutton, Samuel, Mike Williams, George Kittle, Zach Ertz if Kittle's healthy, and then Jerry Judy, Rondell Moore, and T Higgins. I think he should probably play T Higgins over Jerry Judy if healthy. If T Higgins is healthy, I'm going with Derek this week. I'm going with Derek this week.
Yeah. So I like both of these teams actually. I think that
Yep.
this week will be a big get right game for the Bucks, and I think we'll see Tom really starting to sling that thing. Third game back with Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin back in Pennsylvania, gonna have a lot of family there. And then you've got the RB1 for the Pats. Blake does have Lenny and Cortland Sutton. But I think the big key to this matchup is going to be Jalen Hurts going up against Dallas. I think Dallas will probably be able to snuff some of those huge games out. So I actually think that Philly gets their first loss this week, and I'm going to have both of these teams going to 3-3 with Derek getting the win.
Have we done Uriah and John yet?
No, we'll roll right into that. So hold on, my app just crashed. So if you want to go ahead.
Yeah, it's looking like a pretty close one. John's got Lamar versus Uriah's Kyler. Great value Lamar, as I like to call him. But then we got Nick Chubb, far better than Alvin Kamara, in my opinion, depending on who's a quarterback. Zeke is dead. Tony Pollard is their future. Brees Hall, AJ Brown versus Juju, Drake London versus CeeDee Lamb, Ito Smith versus Dawson Knox, Marquise Brown versus Michael Thomas. I mean, I gave John the keys to beating Uriah, and I don't see any way it doesn't happen. I'm taking John.
Yeah, I might walk back that shit pumping of the week and give it to this game. I don't see any way that Uriah gets it done. So I'm gonna have John to 3-3, Uriah to 1-5. And this brings us to our last game of the week
Me and
with
Nick.
Nick and Gatlin. So we got the man himself, best quarterback in the league at the moment, G Daddy, right there.
Mm-hmm.
Gino versus the Cardinals, Matt Stafford versus Carolina. Probably a get right game for the Rams this week as well. And Najee, that whole Pittsburgh offense looks bad.
Bad.
So Saquon looks great. Valdez-Scantling, he's kind of a boomer bust guy. With Pat Mahomes will throw it to anybody. Michael Pittman, who knows? That's Devonta Smith. You have D. Smith,
Yep.
Devonta.
Devontae
Okay,
Smith.
so Mike Evans is due for a big week. Tight end for Tampa won't do much, and then he's got the Pittsburgh wide receiver as well. I think this one's a pretty close one. It's going to depend a lot to me on who is the guy for the Mostert is not on the 49ers anymore. He's in Miami.
He's in Miami.
So they're going to be pretty run heavy with the 13 QB. I'm going to go with Nick just based off of Mike Evans this weekend.
Yeah,
I think
he's due one.
A 2-touchdown game.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I'm going to go with myself. Najee. I sold Hollywood high, bought Najee low. Really hope that comes out in my favor. Plus, I got a little Cam Akers down there. If they ever decide what the fuck they want to do at running back, if they decide they want to be a Super Bowl caliber team, I think it's crazy that both Super Bowl quarterbacks have just shit the bed ever since this whole season. So, but I'm still going to take myself because Cuervos. Rah.
Well, I mean, let's just be honest. It was the fact that we didn't get Kansas City, Tampa again in the Super Bowl last year was a lot of kind of those one chance plays. So the Bengals had to come crashing.
I mean, Buffalo very easily could have been in that Super Bowl too. It came down to a coin flip.
Yeah, but the AFC Championship game was one of the wilder games you've ever seen.
Yeah.
So leading into this week's games, my favorite line all week has got to be New Orleans +2 at home versus the Bengals. I love that line.
Really?
Yeah, I love that one a lot. Tonight we have Washington at Chicago. Makes no sense to me for Washington to be a dog in this game, so I'm going to take Washington -1. Tampa and Pittsburgh. That's easy for me. Take Tampa. Jacksonville, Indy, stay away from. Cleveland, New England, I'm staying away from. Green Bay. Ugh, I don't know about that one. -7. What do you think?
I would take a -5.5.
Okay. Then Minnesota -3 at Miami. Miami's on their third team guy. It seems to me like that should be another Kirk Cousins puts on a show. San Fran at Atlanta. I know you don't want to bet on West Coast teams going east, but San Fran -5.5.
Yeah, I'm taking San Fran there.
Pretty tempting to me. But that's next game, Cincy at New Orleans. I love New Orleans, but love New Orleans +2.
My lock of the week, Jacksonville money line. I just
could easily see that.
I don't think the Colts, I think they have mentally gotten themselves in a place where they are just afraid of Jacksonville and the other to Jacksonville. They're like, man, we can't beat nobody else, but we can beat the fuck out of the Colts, and let's go on and do it.
And then you've got the Rams -10 at home versus Carolina. That seems like a nice, healthy one as well.
Yeah.
Then I really like this one too. Arizona at Seattle. Seattle +2.5. I could easily see that being a 1-point win for
me too.
Cardinals.
Me too. I could.
Buffalo, Kansas City. That is a straight slap in the face to put Pat Mahomes as a 2.5-point dog at home. That is a slap in his fucking ketchup loving face.
I like Buffalo 2.5, -2.5.
I do not. I'm staying away from that game. But
yeah,
you're going to give me Pat Mahomes in points. It's hard to stay away from.
I'll tell you what, that Arizona-Seattle game, over 55.5, hammer it.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. But then to the big Sunday night game, Dallas at Philly. Dallas +6.5. What are your thoughts?
I like Dallas +6.5. They've shown it to me on offense. They've shown it to me on defense. And Jalen Hurts hasn't seen a rusher like he has in Michael Parsons.
Just to piss Shane off real good, I'm going to take Dallas money line.
Dallas money line.
Went outright, yep. And that will lead us into Monday Night Football. Broncos at the Chargers.
I got Chargers -10. No, -9.5. -9.5.
-9.5.
Yeah,
I'm going to stay away from that game. I think Russell is better than what he's played.
He's garbage.
Yeah, I'm going to stay away. But my two favorites for this week tonight, Washington -1. I think I'm going to parlay those two games, Washington -1 and then New Orleans +2. So
I'm excited to see Brian Robinson come out and do his thing.
Yeah, did you see the clip, the mini-men clip?
Yep, mini-men of him coming out. Yeah, that'll give you chills.
All right, boys. So Gatlin's going to get this uploaded onto YouTube, and then hopefully next week we'll have all three of us back on here. But Godspeed. We got the Mountaineers at Baylor. You were talking about Neil Brown. The only way I'm going to be willing to ship Neil Brown out of town is if we can get Matt Rule in Morgantown. He's a Philly guy. Come on, we're close.
See you guys next week.